Hi everyone, it's Killshot from 99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 4. More fan reactions. We are a little bit earlier, but I want to hang out with you guys just for a couple seconds. I know we got some people waiting to get involved and just talk about this episode, the sneak peek from next week. So many notes. I have 5 pages of notes, and everyone's going to want to talk about Rick and talk about the hallucination, the flashbacks, all of those things. It looked amazing, but there's a lot of other stuff that went down. There is the Michonne relationship and the conversation with Negan, really good stuff. And I don't feel it's completely final. I don't know. Maybe I'm holding on a little bit longer. Tommy said, it felt real at this point. I've kind of been preparing for this moment. So, we know he's going to be off the show, but, the big question is going to be whether or not he has the opportunity to come back if he so chooses. And I was thinking of a movie when I saw a sneak peek for next week, and I don't know if many of you have seen it, but Vanilla Sky and where you go through, if you haven't seen it, just, check it out because it's got some similar stuff where there's something tragic that happens, and then at the end it's like, open your eyes. And when I saw this, like, wake up, it felt like something tragic might have happened to Rick, and we could be left wondering whether or not he is going to make it out of this situation. I certainly hope so. If you guys saw a little bit earlier, we did the fan reactions. A ton of people that were in there. Good conversations, good dialogue, all around that. And I felt like we had some good momentum going, and then we sort of put it on pause, and then we had to check out the end of Talking Dead. There was a buzz, there was a hype around it, and then I hope we just don't get in that where it's like the inevitable. We see it as an ending. It's going to be an ending in some regards, but it's just hard for me to understand if this is the end of Rick Grimes. I don't know if I can just see him pinned on a slab of concrete and not be able to make it out. Sergeant Chosen One, Kills extended episode next week. I don't know. I really don't. I would assume it might be that extra 15 minutes or so to run a little bit more, but I haven't seen anywhere whether it's going to be a 90-minute episode or not. And I'm not sure that it needs to be. If a lot of it is, the dream state or the hallucinations, I don't know it needs to be that long. We said 11:15, and Talking Dead ended a little bit early, so I just wanted to get in and sort of hang out with the group a little bit and get some reactions. You didn't miss a whole lot. We're just kind of chit-chatting a little bit. We're going to give it a couple more minutes, and then we'll break down some specific things. I'm just reading a couple questions. Yep, crows turn to helicopters. It would be really nice if those helicopters he heard is actually what wakes him up. I still think Jadis has got a shot at helping him out. How do you guys feel? Anybody feel like Jadis could pop in and save the day? I mean, wouldn't that be, we see the helicopter and we think that could be the early flashback, but maybe that's, he continues to hear it over and over again, and then when he wakes up, there's going to be Jadis with the helicopter. I don't feel like Jadis just has a separate story at this point. I mean, it'd almost be as if she'd leave, and I mean, we don't care about Jadis enough to have her just leave and have her own story or end a story. We only care about Jadis, let's be honest. We care about her because we think the helicopter has something to do with Rick. That's the only reason why she gets any credibility at this point. And yes, and absolutely Rick is an A. So she's missing. We still know she's missing. Danny Gray says, betting the mortgage he's rescued. Andy takes a break for a couple seasons, then comes back. Yeah, but if he's rescued, he has to be rescued with the idea everybody feels like he's dead. And this is probably going to be the toughest thing. It's a lose-lose situation. So let me tell you what I mean. If he dies, all the characters are going to second-guess everything they did. If he lives and they think he's dead, all the characters are going to second-guess everything they did. So from that regard, it doesn't matter from a story standpoint, really, if they kill him or if they don't kill him. What matters is to us, whether there's a chance he could come back or not come back. But from the story, the characters are going to feel the same way. I don't see a scenario where the characters see him leave and they're like, okay, yeah, the helicopter's taking him away and we'll see you in 5 years after the time skip. So regardless, it's one of, in my mind, it's one of two things at this point. He's dead or they think he's dead. I'm hoping for number 2. Yep, Rhonda, and that's exactly what I was going to say. Daryl's last words to him are be safe. And you could see on Daryl's face, he was worried about Rick. I mean, he was so worried, and he's like, come on, just leave it. I can go. And Villar, I think I'm really starting to think the purpose of the time skip is so we don't have to see them grieve. Does anybody agree with that? It's although we're going to be grieving, the characters are going to seem somewhat they've moved on. They've sort of picked up their pieces, and I get it now. I fully understand it. I mean, it's going to be 1 week for us. We're going to be like, man, where's Rick? I hate that. And then, oh, yeah, what? Sean and Judith, they're out playing, and Daryl's fine. But we're not going to be fine, but the characters are going to be fine. Yeah, I guess it's one way to make us move on a little bit quicker. And, to be honest, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see Daryl going through the guilt and blaming himself. I don't think the writers want us to blame him. We're still going to do it because we're still going to talk about it for a few weeks. So, we're definitely going to say, if Carol would have stuck around, then I can't really blame Carol. Yeah, I don't know if that's a good what-if situation. But if Jed wouldn't have came and started shooting things up, if Maggie wouldn't have tried to kill Negan, if Daryl wouldn't have tricked Rick, it's, So, Not Skittle says kills. But what about in the trailer? It shows Rick on the floor and everyone running past him. That wasn't a hallucination. You don't know it's not a hallucination. So, Skittles, I talked about this a couple of weeks ago on one of the streams. That could be Rick's heaven. And it's the only analogy I can draw. So let's just say that a couple things could pan out here. Is Rick never makes it off that slab. All right, that's one possibility. The walkers are very close to him. So let's say he gets engulfed. Actually, it's probably 3 possibilities, and one person put in a super chat earlier. So possibility number 1 is he never moves again. He's done. And everything that happens, the hallucinations and the people running past to protect the bridge, that's his piece. I know we see it, and I know because we see it, we think it. Like, okay, he's there, and that's real. But it might not be real. That might be the final moment of, okay, look, we all fought together. We all came together to fix this. The problem is, and here's, all right, I'm going to throw it out there to everybody. If I had to bet right now, he doesn't make it to the bridge, and I'm going to tell you why. It's the time. All right, you guys play along with me here. Where's Michonne? Right now, at this moment. I'm going CSI mode. I'll let you guys catch up to this. All right. Where's Michonne? Alexandria? Where's Maggie? Alexandria? So, I'm going to get the super chat, and then I'm going to get back to my point here. So, June Smith says, tonight, Daryl touched my heart so much. It was awesome, emotional, hard to believe. We won't see Rick no more after next week. I cried the whole episode. It was very touching and surreal, and I think a lot of people felt that. June, I'm going to touch on that a little bit later in this video, but I want to tell you why I think Rick doesn't make it to the bridge. So at this very moment that Rick is pinned to concrete, that would mean that Michonne and Maggie would have to get to the base camp at the same time that Rick is going to walk back from where he's at to get to the bridge. I don't think he makes it to the bridge. I think it's his vision. And in his vision, he's down on one knee turning around and everybody is fighting for a common cause. To Rick, that's what the world is about. The world is about that moment where Carl's dream is realized, everybody's working together, and they're protecting that bridge. Luciano, it does not mean that the helicopter does not save Rick. So I think the best we could hope for is that the helicopter does save Rick, and as he's fading out, that's what he sees. So I would be willing to bet he does not stumble and make it back that far. And then everybody just happens to show up at the base camp at the same time. I mean, we'd be a little naive to think, all right, Jed's shooting, Carol's shooting, they all put their weapons down, Rick stumbles in, Maggie happened to show up, Michonne happened to show up, and now they're all running across the bridge at the same time. And the other problem with that is they would pass him along the way. So I would say it's an almost guarantee that bridge scene never happens. Well, Samantha, how are they going to get there? I mean, that would be the other question, right? All right, I got another super chat I want to jump over to. This is Steve Smitherman says, will Daryl and find Rick on the slab? Which way was Daryl going? It's a good question. I don't think so. I think it would make a little bit more sense that if Rick did escape, that Daryl sees the herd. And I think this herd is going to be so massive that you can't get to it. So that there will be the assumption that Rick is part of that Rick's dead and he's in that herd. Lakeisha says, maybe Jadis gets on the chopper to leave, sees Rick, and goes back for him. Well, we know we got a Jadis walkie-talkie scene and a chopper scene coming up. We also heard this very early on from a couple sources that all right, I don't want to get too far into this, but there were rumors that the day they filmed the helicopter scene, much of the cast was toward Atlanta. And people that were trying to find out what happened, they basically led all the media on a wild goose chase. And Jadis filmed the chopper scene, and Rick was there. Now, I don't want to give you hope, but it would align with whether or not, and this was supposed to be filmed in some wooded area. But we talked about this a couple months ago when we first started talking about the chopper scene, that Rick was on set. That's what we heard. We heard Rick was on set, and we heard the chopper scene happened. And it was the same time that the filming was led in a different direction. And I think if you piece that together with the fact that Rick is not, we don't know what's real and we don't know what's not real. It's a beautiful thing if they filmed this scene with Rick and it never happened. I mean, because that's been hasn't that been the go-to ever since we saw the Comic-Con trailer? Everybody to a person has said that bridge scene we haven't seen the bloody boots yet either. All right, let me say this. Dorothy Martin says he rides the horse back. Remember the handprint on the horse. All right. Let me be clear with this. Nothing that we've seen is guaranteed to be real. All right? If you see Rick on a bridge, it doesn't mean he's really on the bridge. If you see a bloody handprint on a horse, it doesn't mean he really rode that horse. Everything that's going on right now has the potential to be a hallucination. So there is absolutely zero that we can base it on as far as credibility at this point. This is what's amazing about it. Because anyone that comes up with an argument, we can say, well, wait a minute. He's talking to himself in the hospital. He's seeing crows. He's seeing helicopters. We don't know what Rick sees. We don't know what is there. And it is brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. Because we're all going to have these theories, and nothing is going to be confirmed. Even if they filmed multiple, like Denise says, if they filmed multiple endings, that's a fact too. So you can say, well, no, I saw Rick on the bridge. It means it happened. We questioned that a while back. I mean, how many of you were in these streams when we said, why is no one stopping to check on Rick? Why are people running past Rick if he's injured? Because they're protecting his dream. They're protecting his legacy. They're protecting Carl's legacy. But I will say, the crows turning to helicopters is probably the best basis. I would even go on to say, I don't know if we'll ever see Rick open his eyes. What if we don't? What if he's unconscious and we see all these hallucinations and all we hear... You know what? I'm going to give you this scenario, and I want to know what you think about it. We got Randy Wilson says, Rick gets pulled up by the chopper, and they have medical, and he's like he was in episode 1 in the bed. They don't stop for Rick because he isn't there. Randy, I think that's a strong statement, but I still think it's a bold prediction. So let me go back to something we talked about a little bit earlier. Vanilla Sky. Where in Vanilla Sky at the end, he opens his eyes. If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry. Watch it anyway. It's still good. but you go through this car wreck and you go through all this dream state. This preview next week reminded me so much of that movie that look, think of the similarities. Something tragic happened, a lot of hallucinations, and then constantly hearing like open your eyes, open your eyes. A lot of that's happening in next week's show. So if Rick is impaled and his eyes are closed and he's trying to get up, but he's seeing all these things, he's seeing himself in a coma, he's seeing the choppers, he's walking over dead bodies, he doesn't know what's real and what's not real. Let me just say and give you this scenario and see, some people are saying, I need closure. I don't know that you're going to get closure, so I'm going to give you another alternative. What we know, the last thing we know about Rick's situation. Chance Fox with a super chat says, to add to my super chat from earlier stream, makes sense that he's imagining it and he smiles about it. Did Norman say he tickled his feet for the last scene? They did, because it was such a heavy, dramatic scene. And this would make sense as well. Apparently they had to get Rick to laugh. So Chance, you're right on the money there. So if it goes down like this, I just want to know how you feel about it, other than the fact that maybe you want or you need closure. The last real episode we heard is Rick in pain. I mean, no doubt. The walkers are closing in and they are getting super, super close. They're moving so fast, Rick is not going to be able to get himself off that rebar and get away. I don't think so. He's going to need some help. Or, as someone said in an earlier stream, the horse vouches for him. The horse basically takes one for the team, and Rick appears to be dead, and the walkers leave him alone. We can assume that, right? And I think that's a great prediction. Or what if we don't see any of it? What if all we see is these hallucinations, and then we hear a chopper in the background? And that's it. I want to get your thoughts on that. Dwayne, I know. But, right now we can say the horse pulls him off, Daryl rides in on a motorcycle. That ain't going to happen. So let me say this and give you the absolute things that will not happen next week. No one that is close to Rick will see him alive unless it's for a moment and he dies. All right, let me make that clear with what I mean. If Rick does get off the rebar and he does walk back and he does make it back, I think that means he's going to die. That they get to see him one last time before he dies. I think that is there's no doubt that we're going to have closure. Toxic Terror says he gets himself off the rebar via the opening minutes of the vid. That's not necessarily correct. Thank you for that super chat. But once again, let me reiterate this. Nothing that you see next week can be taken as literal. Nothing that you see in the opening minutes can be taken as that's really him in that moment. It could be out of body. It could be his struggle to get back. I do think this is why it's going to be trippy. And this is going to be tough. Randy Walton says something makes noise and makes herds redirect. Possibility. Here's the way I see it going down. Okay? And just stick with me for a second, because I know we're going to super chat and we're going to have theories, and most of these theories are generated on your sincere hope that it happens. I have to play on the sincere possibility that it doesn't happen. I'm sorry to say it like that. This is the way I see the journey of Rick Grimes ending. Rick ain't moving. But Rick's soul, Rick's heart, Rick's passion, Rick's subconscious is about getting back, fighting to get back, because Rick is a fighter. But imagine that there's a 1,000,000-pound stone on his chest and Rick cannot move. The great famous Rick Grimes cannot move. And because I know we're going to say Rick can move any stone, but just for a second, hear me out. Let's say he is impaled and he is stuck there, at least at that moment. And next week's episode is about his struggle to make the walk back, to get back to the bridge. And we see it. We see it and we don't know, is that really Rick? Is that not Rick? That we're right along with him because we believe what we see, right? I mean, we saw it in Comic-Con and we believe that's the way it happens. And he makes it back. He makes it to that damn bridge that he believes in so much. And he's at peace because that's all he wanted. So as soon as he gets back and kind of drops and takes a knee, like, this is it. This is the end of my journey. And everybody runs across that bridge. It does not make sense to me that from the time that Rick got impaled, that Michonne can get to the base camp. Look, half those people are not still at the base camp. They've already left. They've already split up. So in order for these theories to make sense about Rick making it back to the bridge, all those people would have to be like emailed and texted and a bonfire go up and say, hey, everybody, get back to the base camp because we got to run across and save Rick. That's not going to happen. I mean, let's be real with it. That's not going to happen. There's no way that all those people are going to reassemble. And keep in mind, they would have to run past Rick, who's walking there, to get back to the base camp, then put their horses down, then turn around, then grab their weapons, and then run across. And Daryl as well. So Daryl's going to have to drive the motorcycle all the way past a injured Rick and the herd, which has blocked him, get all the way back to the base camp, put his motorcycle down, and run across. The bridge scene is not real. It's not real. It can't be real at this point. No way. If they find a way to make that scene work, it's going to blow my mind because there's no way. There's no way everybody's there. Dustin Little said Rick never makes it off the rebar when we see everyone running past the bridge. I think they're actually running toward him on the rebar. I don't even think they're running toward him on the rebar because it's too far away. Samantha, look, you can say I'm right or wrong. I'm just telling you the reality is you're going to have to find me a scenario. Remember, this is real time. Hang on. At this second, Rick just got impaled. And he's completely surrounded by walkers. Maggie's not at the camp. Michonne's not at the camp. All those people, Daryl's not at the camp. I don't see a scenario where Rick walks all the way back to that bridge and those people just happen to be there when they're not there. It can't be real. It can't be. If there was a scenario where I could think that it would be real, believe me, I would entertain it. I just don't see how all those people are going to get back to the other side of that bridge. I'm not saying that Rick can't be rescued. I'm not saying that Rick cannot experience that walk back. What I'm saying is I don't think that walk back is real. I think it's just a part of his vision. It's part of his quest to get back to that bridge and have everybody protected. That's that moment. June, I can understand how it could be confusing because what they have the ability to do is show us something and make us believe it. So, Samantha W., you're completely missing my point. Completely missing it. I'm not saying the choppers are not real. Okay, let me walk this back one more time. Because I'm trying to articulate as best I can, and I'm not trying to be sarcastic. But not everybody's hearing the scenario because they're trying to prove a point. I think it's very possible that it's open-ended. I think it's very possible he could be rescued off the rebar. I think it's very possible he could die on the rebar. I think it's extremely unlikely he makes it back to the bridge. I don't think the bridge scene is real. I would be much more receptive to the helicopter rescues him from where he's at, or he dies where he's at, rather than he gets off the rebar. And because I want to give you all the things that have to happen for him to get to the bridge. Crypto says Jadis thinks he's been bit, so takes him on the heli. Possibility. Ricky says only way Rick makes it off the rebar is if Jadis swoops him up. So the things that have to happen for him to get back to the bridge is, one, he has to get off the rebar. Then he has to get away, already injured and bleeding, couldn't move. I mean, he saw the walkers coming and he just passed out. So I'm going to give you one scenario where I could see that would be possible. But I still have a problem with everybody getting there. So at this point, Rick is unconscious. I got a question for the group here. Has anyone ever passed out? Anyone ever been unconscious? Hang on, let's not get to the horse yet, Samantha. The bloody handprint on the horse, the blood that he's looking at on his side, could all be complete hallucinations. So, all right, a lot of people have been unconscious before. And let me super chat this. So we got Bryn Gilligan says, we'll hear helicopters while Rick's hallucinating. All the other scenes, when they search, Rick won't be there, just horse remains. Won't know if Rick taken eaten. I agree with that wholeheartedly. All right. So those of you that have been unconscious, just an approximation. How long did it take you to wake up? I missed a super chat earlier too. There's so much chat going on, I completely missed it. Old Soul, if we get that type back up. Okay. All right, we got people saying 3 minutes, 5 minutes, a few minutes. How far are those walkers away from Rick that are zooming in on him? How far away from... Did you see how quick they moved to within about 20, 30 feet of him? seconds. All right, so here's where we are, everybody. Rick's unconscious and walkers are 10 seconds away from him. Let me put that in perspective. All right, everybody play along. All right? You're all unconscious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're dead. That's it. You're dead. That's not even time to get off a piece of rebar. In 10 seconds, he has to wake up, pull himself off rebar, and then run away because he ain't walking. All right, so getting off the rebar on his own does not make sense at this point. Casey, now let me go back to the super chat that someone mentioned earlier. If the horse is devoured, Old Soul, agreed. My gut dropped after seeing that tonight. We got to come up with an alternate scenario. And I do have to say, we were going to talk about Michonne and Negan and some other things, but this is going to monopolize the time. We're going to have to get to some of that other chat tomorrow night. This is going to be action-packed because there's passion and people want to super chat it, and the conversations are going to get shifted, so I get it. So Rick is not getting off that rebar in 10 seconds and getting away from those walkers. It's impossible. If Rick is passed out, this is something that I saw super chatted earlier, and I'm very interested in this theory. And this would be the only way I'd say would buy Rick a little bit of time. I still don't think the bridge scene is real because of the Maggie-Michonne dynamic. So, if the horse were to be devoured and surrounded, because if the walkers walk by Rick and he's completely out and he's not moving, maybe they don't eat him. He's not making any noise. He's completely silent. I guess they could, but maybe they won't. Maybe they go straight for the horse. But let me also say, the horse is still there. It's a lot of walkers. It's not a few. These are mega herds. So what I think that does for Rick, I think it buys him time to hallucinate. Even if those walkers go over to that horse, does it seem feasible? Just really quick, you guys give me an estimate. How many walkers do you think that were there? Crypto, I love that super chat. It's great. Crypto says, doesn't the heli have machine guns? It's an open area. A lot of room, spin around and whack them down. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be able to gun them all down. All right, I've heard some big numbers. I've heard 500, I've heard 600, heard 1,000, heard 3,000. It looked like thousands. It looked like an unbelievable size herd. So has anyone ever been? Let me give you another example because I want to create as many visuals as we can. Has anyone ever been in a concert surrounded by 1,000 people? Like you're right in the middle of 1,000 people or so? Most people have. I want you to have an idea of how many walkers that is, so you can kind of get the gist of it. I'm getting the gist of it, of how many are surrounding Rick. Even if they eat that horse, I feel like if Rick moves, he's gone. So if the horse is to something happen, I only think that serves to give Rick a little bit more time to visualize and to have that outer body experience and make that walk back. Like, they leave him alone for a little bit, but I don't know that if you have 1,000 walkers, even if they walk 15 feet past Rick, they're still going to be completely surrounding him. I mean, maybe there's not as many as we think, but unless my eyes are playing tricks on me, it's a lot. But I will say this. I don't think Rick will die there, and I don't think Rick will turn. You kind of get what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it's Rick's destiny to die from being impaled, and then the walkers go eat the horse, and then Rick turns, and then Rick's part of this big herd. So I'm going to read a couple comments here. It could be not Skittles, but I gotta ask you guys again. With that many walkers and Rick impaled, how do you feel that? I don't know if we have the bridge scene. I'm going to check and see. Yeah, I don't think I have it uploaded. But I get it. I know there's that kind of hanging on, and we all want it to end a certain way. But if you guys really want me to buy into the bridge scene, you're going to have to answer 3 questions for me. I need to know how Michonne gets there, or 4 questions. I need to know how Michonne gets there. I need to know how Maggie gets there. I need to know how Daryl gets there without seeing Rick. And then I need to know why no one runs to Rick when they know he's injured. Those are the questions I need answered. Maybe they will be answered. And it is. I understand it's hard to accept it, especially when there's going to be a lot of hallucinating going on. I mean, that's going to make it even worse. I'm just reading a couple comments here. And Skittles, I'm not disagreeing with some of that, but I'm still stuck on everybody running across the bridge. And it's because we questioned that a long time ago. I mean, when we saw that, we're like, that was the first thing that we saw. And we said, it's like, why is nobody helping him? If Rick was stabbed, if Rick was... And, we had there were a lot of theories out there. Some people said it was a whisper that stabbed him. He was shot in the side. All of the above. So we know there's something that happens to his side at this point. There's no debating that because he's impaled. And it does feel very real because he's down there. For all of them to get back in that situation before he gets back, I can't see the way it works. Thomas D. Dwight saves Rick. The herd has to get distracted. Here's part 2 to many of the scenarios. Let me just humor a couple people who their heart's really into this. All right. Just for sake of argument. We're going to do this. I don't think it's going to happen. We're going to do it. Rick gets off the rebar. Rick makes it back to the bridge. Everybody made it back. All right, let's just say the bridge is real. Nobody stops for him. They all run across the bridge and ignore him. Why? Just so we get closure and we can see him die? I mean, that is what's going to happen. Because he's leaving the show. So if he's leaving the show, he's not going to be tucked away somewhere. The characters on the show have to believe that he is gone because he's not going to be here for episode 6. So if Dwight saves him, where's he going to go? If he lives through it, where's he going to go? If Negan saves him, where's he going to go? The characters are going to move on through a time skip and under the presumption he's dead, that he's gone. Westwood says, dying because of construction material is not fitting in for Rick Grimes. No, and that's why I'm not sure that he'll die. Because there seems to be problems with most of his deaths. If he never moves off that slab, people are going to have a problem with that. That's not fitting, that he just got devoured. Nobody wants to see him get devoured by walkers, even if he's pinned down. If he gets back to the bridge and all those people somehow time warped and got there, then he's just going to die in front of them. And I don't think we're going to see him die. So I think the chopper really is the only option, but I don't know that we're going to see it. I think we're going to know that there's a chopper there. We're probably going to hear it. I would be shocked if we saw him being rescued. I just got more of a feeling they're going to leave us to our own devices. They're going to, the people that think that they need closure, they're going to assume that Rick died. The people that need the hope of Rick Grimes, I think they're going to hope that a chopper took him away. I've always said that. So I'm not going to turn away from that right now. Because that was always kind of my epic situation. Like, what would be epic? Something for everybody. And you got people saying he's going to die and it'll be televised. Possibly. But did anybody think that Angela, here's a question for everybody here. I need your help. And also, everybody do me a big favor. If you guys love getting together, if you love having these chats about The Walking Dead, if you love the reactions, hanging out with us, then do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe. We are, by the way, we're super close to like 80,000 subs. I think we're 30 or 40 away. So if everybody here that I've seen a bunch of new faces and people watching the playback, if everybody subscribes, we're going to be well over 80,000. And that would be that'd be a cool thing. And if you're not a Walking Dead fan, if you're not going to watch any longer, then give us a dislike. We're okay either way. So the question I have for everybody here, why they're liking the video, did anybody feel like Angela Kang was a little bit kind of up-tempo compared to Chris Hardwick and the audience and all of us? Did anybody feel like she's got something up her sleeve? Like not the death of Rick Grimes? Because I felt that. I was like, she's not cryptic like Scott Gimple. She's not, no, we'll see, and, if he's dead, he's dead. That's Scott Gimple. Angela was kind of, like, excited. Like, she wanted to tell everybody something. And, it's trippy and hallucinations, and there's a lot of visual special effects. Not like a person that just killed off the franchise. Well, she said get the tissues and the popcorn. You could have gotten tissues out tonight. Tonight was moving. But I can tell you why we need the tissues. We need the tissues because the characters will assume he's dead. That is a given. That is an absolute given. They're going to feel like he's gone. We might not. Wayne Floyd said, I'd like to say to the mods, I'm sorry for what was directed at you guys in an earlier stream. You all do a fantastic job, and none of you deserved such disgusting vitriol. Mushies to Steph. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate that. And there is a lot of it. So appreciate that. Appreciate just love for the mods. They deal with a lot and just do an incredible job. A lot of people are asking if we're going to hear Johnny Cash is hurt next week. I don't know. I mean, I heard a different song, but that was by a spoiler site that was completely wrong with how he's going to die. So, I don't know. Yeah, good stuff. Good comments. We got a few more minutes. So based on a couple different things, if you had a choice, I'm going to give you two scenarios. And I just want you to pick one for now, and then we'll add some different scenarios. But if you had a choice, two scenarios. Scenario number one. The horse distracts him. Rick gets off the rebar, walks back. The bridge scene is real. And shortly afterwards, Rick dies because he's leaving the show. That's scenario one. Scenario two. We never see Rick leave the rebar. We only see his dream state. It's a vision of him walking back to the bridge. But we hear a helicopter in the background. And it fades to black, and they time skip 5 years, and the cast assumes he's dead, but we think maybe he survived it. So you got scenario one or two. An absolute closure, you see Rick die, or number two, you don't know if he gets eaten, you don't know if he stays impaled, you don't know if he got taken away. It's just completely open-ended. Of those two scenarios, I just want to see where everybody takes a stand on this. Now, keep in mind, my scenario two, you never see him get on a chopper. You just have to either believe it and have faith, or you have to think maybe he didn't make it. Because that's what the actors are going to think. That's what Michonne is going to tell Judith. That's what Negan's going to think. That's what Daryl's going to think. Because in scenario two, everybody has to move on with their life thinking that Rick Grimes died. And he will never have another conversation with any of them. And Daddy Corleone, you hit it perfectly. It's implied, and that's good enough. And I know many of you have been in streams, and we've talked about Rick Grimes. It's not whether we see the character walking around, giving instructions and building bridges. Rick Grimes is a symbol of hope. When we see him die, that hope to a certain degree is finalized. It's not fully realized. If we don't see him die and we can come to our own conclusions, it's going to mean different things for different people. Emma says, I believe in number 2, but I think Michonne is going to want proof. The problem with proof is going to be if there's 5,000 walkers. You're not getting proof because you're getting out of there. They can't kill that many walkers. This is not going to be a scene where they jump in there and just start mowing them down. I think this time there's way, way too many of them. And I agree, Pete. I think the dead horse, if they see anything left of the dead horse, would probably be enough to move it forward. I'm gonna tell you, I have not been this excited about an episode of The Walking Dead in a long time. Because I can see, with each of you here. And Chris just went like super beast mode with that super chat. First of all, let me say this. Thank you. That is way, way too generous. That is unbelievable. And says going to cry either way. So I'm going to cry because you just did a really amazing super chat. You're gonna bring me to tears. Thank you so much for supporting this channel, and thank you for that comment. You know what? I'm going to make that a super chat spotlight, and I want everybody to be completely honest. Next week is Rick Grimes' last episode. Live or die. He's gone, and all the characters on the show are going to go through that emotion. How many of you really think you're going to be right there along with Chris with that super chat, absolutely crying? Be honest. How many people think it's going to hit them? Because we're going to have a very emotional stream next week. No doubt about it, right? I got to tell you, I'm going to be behind a microphone next week, so I'm going to be relying on this group as much as you guys are going to be relying on this stream. And we got another super chat, and who is that super chat up there? We got Randy Walton says the white horse makes it back with a bloody handprint. Proof that Rick's gone? Rick trying to send a message? Maybe the horse is in trouble and slaps the horse on the side just to get the horse to take off and get back, and they see that? Yeah, possibility. If that happens, there's no bridge scene. So, look, there's a couple things that could happen. It could be maybe the horse makes it back. Maybe the horse is sacrificed. it is going to get a little bit crazy. There's no doubt. I mean, when you do a stream that you're going to have people who are just, they're saddened by the fact that Andy's not filming, at least the rest of the season. Then if he dies, it's going to be like 10 times worse. It's going to be like you're not only losing Andy, but you're losing the character Rick Grimes. I'm okay with losing Andrew Lincoln for a year or two. I'm not okay with losing Rick Grimes. And I'll throw I'll throw one more corny thing out there, and I don't think it's going to happen this way. I think there's like almost 0% chance this will happen. But you know what? Let's just say it. Rick survives it and gets recast. All right, I'm ducking. I know people are throwing stuff. No possibility, right? Are we all in agreement that they're not going to recast Rick for a couple seasons? Okay, just making sure, Mike. Yeah, I don't see that happening at this point. Early in the season, I could see it as a possibility, but the way it's playing out, all right. So I'm going to ask just one more thing. We got Jimmy's jamming with a super chat as well. Jimmy says, "So glad I'll have all of these awesome people to go through this." And Kills, I'm already crying. Jimmy, don't yet, because save those tears, my man. Save those tears. One, look, we're sad to see Andy go. But let me just give the scenario one more time, and if you agree with it, like I'm legitimately going to use this as my final prediction at this point. We started doing this 4 or 5 months ago, and it was like this big funnel. And we said, we're going to take this theory and this theory and this theory, and then we're going to weed them out, and we're going to get down to something and make a stand. And I was feeling this a couple of weeks ago. You guys remember the live stream? You remember exactly what I threw out there. But if you agree with this scenario, after I give it to you, just type a 1. If you don't, type a 2. But if you type a 2, give me a different scenario. My scenario is we never see Rick rescued and we never see him die. And I've been looking for a situation where that could happen. And this rebar gives me that situation. It really does. As stupid as I thought the rebar was, and he's surrounded by a herd, I could see this herd being so big that everybody assumes he's dead and they got to pack up and get out of there with very little proof. They just know he didn't make it back. But then my question is going to be, if he is rescued, what happens to him for 5 years? And that would be hard to write him back into the show. They'd have to be very creative, and because that's the first question that we're going to ask, right? We're going to say, okay, why has he been gone for so long? What happened to him? That may be harder to bring him back. But look, if we think he gets devoured, we think he gets devoured. And that'll be closure for some people. We think he gets rescued, we're still going to have the question of, why couldn't he make it back? Who was holding him against his will? So many scenarios. The only thing I can say, Myco the Psycho, he's saying that spoiler sites are posting opening minutes. He makes it out alive. Let me once again say, unless we see the entire show, I'm going to need more validation that he gets off that rebar somehow. Because there's just a lot of crazy stuff going on. So how are we going to know what's real and what's not real? And with that, look, awesome chat's theory. So let me say one more thing, and then we're going to wind this down. Don't, even though I'm pretty passionate about my theories, if you got a strong theory, don't believe my theory just because I'm the one talking. I respect everybody's opinions. You guys got some awesome thoughts, some awesome opinions. I want to hear more of them tomorrow. We're going to break down more of this episode. I'll try to disprove mine. I'm going to be kind of, doing a little late night research because I want to think this all the way through. The first reaction is, I feel good about it, but I've seen some really good stuff, and I want to go back and watch this again and read some of your thoughts, some of your comments. Keep in mind, your thoughts and comments are included in this video. If you had a good time typing, chatting, talking, hanging out, being a part of the 999 Army, then you need to hit that thumbs up button right here, right now before you get out of here. We've had 2,000 people plus in this chat tonight. The bigger, the better. We want to get more and more people, more and more thoughts, more and more comments. We're longtime Walking Dead fans, and we're going to be here through Rick's last episode and well into the Whisper War. We're not going anywhere, everybody. So if you want a place to hang out and talk about the show, now if you're one of those people that are going to say, all right, next week Rick's gone, I'm gone, then that's fine. Then, peace out. But the people that are going to be here each and every day, most of you in the stream right here, I trust you're going to come back. We're going to be back here 9:30 tomorrow night. I know it's a late night. So I'm expecting everybody in the stream to make it back. If you can't make it back live, watch the playback. We will be here discussing The Walking Dead Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, and there will be some hyped up, ramped up topics. We know we're going to be passionate about it, but all this week we're going to have a lot of fun with it. So save those tears until we got something final. I'm going to do a couple things here. I want to give a lot of special shout-outs. We got a ton of new Patreons, so you can see the last few down there. Just hit 60 channel Patreons. That's a big deal. You guys are absolutely incredible. The support that we get for this channel. Also, you can see the sponsors in the top right-hand corner. Sponsors are listed in green. Patreon's external website, if you guys don't know what it is, we share a little bit more pictures as information comes out as well. And also, you can see we've gotten a lot of requests for gear. So down at the bottom, we've got hoodies, leggings, 999 gear. We got mugs, a lot of stuff, but by popular demand, there you go. Also, moderators did a great job. Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells, thank you so much. And we had a boatload of super chats tonight. So first and foremost, I want to give a very special shout out to Chris Riddle. I mean, that's just an amazing super chat. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. We got Sergeant Chosen One, June Smith, Steve Smitherman, Lakeisha Faison, Dorothy Martin, Randy Walden, Old Soul, clip of Walker, Rick's face. Old Soul, I will touch on that tomorrow. So now that I'm seeing your super chat, I missed it earlier. Chance Fox, Toxic Terror, Dustin Little, Crypto Info, thank you. Ricky Lutz. Who else we got? He said Jada swoops him up. We'll see. Ricky, you want to talk about that tomorrow too. Thomas D, thank you so much. Westwood Chronic, Wayne Floyd, and Jimmy's Jammin' and Myco the Psycho. Man, you guys are absolutely amazing. I appreciate everything, and you know what? I got a couple more minutes. Give me a 999. Let me see how many shout-outs I can get. With a couple thousand people back and forth into here, I don't know if I can shout out even a third of the people. But if you're brand new, you got to hit that subscribe button. And what we do at the end of almost every video is I ask everybody to type a 999 because I want, one, people watching the playback on them to see, how much support we have. And number two, I want to shout out as many people as I possibly can. And it happens fast. I mean, my goodness, look at this. Joyce Andrews, Karen Adams, Rubelow's channel, Beast Bear, Doris Wortham, Myko the Psycho, Ida Roma, The Walking Dead Nerd, Pamela Wyatt, Encryption. Come on, guys. Type it faster. I can keep up with you. Let's see what we got here. That's a ton of people. It is moving super, super fast. Rhonda DeLuca, Tracy Frederick, Kevin Valdez, Annis Gamers, Ace Man, Carol McFry, J.S. Pot, Taps Ghost Lover, Nikki S., Marsha Cooper, Sensational, Bryn Gilligan, Dylan Jackson, R. Wilson, Fabulous Family of 5, Kentrell Muhammad, Scott Duerte, Julia Drums, thank you so much, Julia Muse, Shane Smith, Lisa Khaleesi, Shane Yutzi, Mike Reiser, Samantha Coombs, Rhonda DeLuca, Amber Amadio, hope I said that right, Emma Michalik, Isola, Betty Jackson, Nerd Life, Andy Lou. All right, and a ton more shout-outs. So thank you so much. I appreciate everybody being here. I can't catch everybody tonight. Be here at 9:30, and we'll try to make up for some of the additional shout-outs. It's been an incredibly long day. This is the 4th stream that we've done, and I think it's going to be a busy week for us as well. Go back to your notes, get all your Walking Dead theories, and I want to hear them all tomorrow, because I know many of you are going to come back and you're going to shoot down some of mine. I'm looking forward to them. I'm looking for the battle. All right, thanks, everybody. I appreciate everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. Peace.